Yeah, once again, you are live and direct inside the lab. And this is Black Dot Chronicles, radiating live and direct from ground zero of the kangaroo apocalypse, aka Brisbane. This is day 464 of the feeble attempts initiated by the deplorable class to force the global population into this new world order. Global reset, fascist, technocratic, track and trace dystopian future death grid. But we still here. And we ain't going nowhere. So I'd like to welcome everyone, my lovers and my haters. Get comfy. We're gonna get into it as always. Libations. Word up. So here we go. Back inside the lab. We're gonna do it again like we always do. We are back inside this deep dive inside the world of cryptocurrency, digital assets, the global agenda, the hidden hand. This piece I put together, I'm calling Crypto Cult Dark Side of the Moon. And if you haven't been with me through this journey, please go back and review the digital asset Trojan horse. And then when you finish with that, I need for you to check out Creation Protocol, the God Code. And once you get through that series, I need you to go look at the elusive Satoshi Nakamoto. Once you checked out all of that, you'll be caught up and you're going to know where we're coming from with this particular brand of research. So as always, I'm going to go back and do a quick review of what we spoke about in the last installment, the elusive Satoshi Nakamoto. Ultimately, my main point of emphasis was to show you that this thing they're calling blockchain technology, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, was in the works long before that it was made public to the non-assuming masses. I showed you clearly that this study or this science of cryptography, which generated blockchain technology and major components like proof of work, proof of stake, decentralization, interoperability, distributed ledger technology. All of this was developed long before a Bitcoin was ever made public. And so what I'm showing you is this Trojan horse that they've thrown in front of our faces over this global pandemic. And the solution they're giving us is to take away all of our freedoms, whatever we have left, and put our entire lives on the blockchain, force us to become unwitting actors in their global game of domination. So when I speak of the deplorable class, I'm speaking of a certain group of individuals who have been around for hundreds of years, even longer. And this is the point that I need for you to understand. These things that are happening to us right now, starting with the pandemic, this is the opening act for this new uh, sequel to the New World Order end game plan, and they're calling it the Global Reset. The Global Reset is the New World Order. So, what I'm going to do is continue on this theme of the last installment, the elusive Satoshi Nakamoto. And I also showed you in a little diagram that ultimately Satoshi Nakamoto is the NSA, the National Security Assholes. This is Satoshi Nakamoto. This individual who they tell you is the progenitor of Bitcoin never existed. This individual is a project or a military mission. This mission is to subdue the world, captivate the masses with this new technology we call blockchain, distributed ledger technology. They're going to use this technology to, or attempt to use this technology to further enslave the masses, but this time in a manner that none of us have anywhere to run. There's nowhere to hide on the blockchain. And as I said to you before, the blockchain is like a chessboard and the match is even. It's not about power or money necessarily. It's about who can get in there and colonize this space and do good works within this space, or who can get in there and colonize this space and continue to execute disagreeable works within this space. That's what it's about. So I'm not I'm not trying to assess any good or bad to the technology at all. I'm not trying to assess any good or bad to these deplorable class individuals who have a very clear agenda that is completely disagreeable toward man, toward nature, towards creation. And these individuals who are in this secret fraternity, who hold this esoteric knowledge, these are the ones that pervade every single aspect of our lives in every single industry, on every single level. Gatekeepers, all the pillars of human interaction, religion, entertainment, education, you name it, government, all the pillars of human interaction are controlled by these gatekeepers. All of these gatekeepers are a part of one fraternity who has sworn an oath of secrecy until they're ready to unveil the truth via their covert means. So what I'm going to do is make this part 2 of the elusive Satoshi Nakamoto. This will be an addendum onto that. And what I'm going to do is kind of give you a history of these deplorable class individuals, the ones who have been planting these seeds and crafting societies behind the scenes for hundreds of years at minimum. And I'm going to show you this. So this is like a history lesson. All right. So when I spoke about the playbook in the creation protocol, the God code, I gave you the playbook of the deplorable class. and I gave you their main agenda as well. So what I'm going to do before we get into this history lesson, I'm going to go back for those of you who may not have had a chance to peep these earlier installments, specifically creation protocol. I'm going to go back over this real quick and then we'll get into the tape. All right. So with regards to the Beast Playbook, all right, they use symbols and coded language to communicate esoteric knowledge while hiding it in plain sight. So they speak to each other so they can implant formulaic seeds of involuntary thought patterns into our subconscious. Okay? This is what they do. They literally use symbols and coded language to communicate esoteric knowledge in plain sight amongst each other, while at the same time implanting formulaic seeds of involuntary thought patterns into the subconscious of the unknowing, unwitting masses. And this is an attempt to engineer consent of the masses through covert tactics. Okay? This is all about consent. This is a war, not for money, not for gold, not for oil, not for land. This is a frequency war. Understand that. All right? And I define esoteric and I define subconscious for you. Esoteric is that hidden, only known amongst a group of a small group of individuals. Okay? This is the esoteric. It's something that is known by a small group, but the masses are blind and unaware of this particular knowledge. And obviously subconscious is that part of our awareness that is always on. It never goes to sleep. It's never off. This is where all the information that we understand about this reality, it is all filtered through the subconscious. So all of these symbols and all of this coded language that we see all around us and we have no idea, they're speaking directly to our subconscious. All right? And their main agenda. I have 6 items under this particular topic. The main agenda of the beast, the main agenda of the establishment, the main agenda of the deplorable class. As we go through this history lesson of this deplorable class and how they've sculpted history to get us to this very point where we are right now, on the brink of a complete AI-driven society, on the brink of complete breakdown of universal values, on the brink of just global chaos, even more so than it already is. The level of death, the level of less than quality aspects of reality that exist even in these so-called first world countries is out of hand. The deviance. So the first thing that the deplorable class will always do is pervert, disrupt, and destroy nature, creation, and the God code. By any means necessary, no matter what they tell you, this is the #1 mission. Pervert, disrupt, and destroy nature, creation, the God code. Anything they tell you, the truth is in the opposite direction. Anything they show you, look in the opposite direction for the truth. Look beneath the surface for the truth. The words that come out of their mouth mean something completely different to them because they're speaking their esoteric coded language. All right? #2, they speak and present the opposite of truth. They speak and present the opposite of truth at all times, every time. Very few exceptions. Number three, they hide the truth in plain sight. A very useful tool of the beast. They hide the truth in plain sight. And again, I've illustrated this to you. If you haven't checked out these prior videos, go back and check them. But it's all good because you'll see it again, no doubt. Number four, they extract death from life in every occasion. Extract death from life in every occasion. Everywhere they go is a cancer to your soul, to your spirit, to societies, to this reality that we should be existing within and under. Yet they have us living in lack. This entire reality is based on not having enough, whether that's through your credit, your education, your so-called religion, whatever it is, it starts in deficit in this reality. So they give you death, they will give you pharmaceuticals, they will give you drugs that you can readily attain that have nothing but frequencies and vibrations of death. Yet they will drag me through the courts, sully my name, rabbit ear my pockets, take my money, take my time, throw me in jail for this spliff I got in my hand right now. Something that was bred from the earth, that the original man and woman has been interfacing with for millions of years. And yet in this current reality, this bizarro world that we are interfacing with, the natural is the profane. Speaking of profane, number five, they breed fear, they embrace the profane, perverted, and unnatural. All right? Fear, everything is fear based. Again, frequency war. Everything is fear based. If you're down and out, if you're afraid of the boogeyman, if you're afraid of bin Laden, if you're afraid of the brother walking on the same side of the street as you, whatever you're afraid of, that they told you you need to be afraid of, this is what they breed. These are the frequencies that they need in order to control. And again, we're going to get to the bottom of this day. I've been breaking down day to you, but at the end of the day, there is someone that sits at the top of this pyramid, or some ones that sit at the top of this pyramid, and we're trying to get to the bottom of that. All right? And number six, they promote disintegration, division, and decay. Very simple. Anti-life at every turn. Anti-life. Psychopaths, even worse. The amount of human sacrifice that goes on this planet on a daily basis is unbelievable. The millions of bodies that fall to this frequency war on a daily basis is fucking insane. They got you looking at these colors. They're telling you that these races are colors. They're telling you that these races are separate. They're telling you that we should look at the other race as something to be afraid of, as something to fear, as something to hate. This is the trance, this is the frequency, and this is the trap. This is part of the Trojan horse. They got you fearing something that don't exist. They got you looking at your neighbor as the enemy while they continue to loot for your soul. All right? So, we're going to get into this real quick. Now, this is something I found when I was doing this research. it's quite in depth, so I'm gonna try to get through this as quickly as possible. But it's called A History of the New World Order. It's a part one and a part two. And this basically chronicles via timeline all the players that are a part of this esoteric, deplorable class that like to call themselves elite. All right. So we're gonna run through this, and I'm not gonna hit everything point by point, but probably most of it because all of this shit is explosive. All right. So, but real quick before I do that, let me just show you this. This is this is essentially these beast logos that run the planet. What you're looking at is a group of mostly multinational, some national with regards to America, multinational, privately owned fascist network of beast agents is what you're looking at. All right. I mean, you've got Trilateral Commission, the IMF, or the International Money Fund. You've got the Royal Institute of International Affairs. You've got Ford Foundation. Who else? National Organization for Women, or now the Club of Rome, Skull and Bones. You've got who else? The Rand Corporation, the Bilderberg Group, Trilateral Commission. Here's their logo. Freemasons, the NSA, Federal Reserve, CIA, the ADL, which is the Anti-Defamation League, MI6, UNESCO, and a few others that I can't really read. But these bodies make up these privately owned, non-publicly elected, non-officials that you always hear their name every time there's a crisis. Every time there's something going on and they want to pass some agenda, they're telling you about this fucking group that's backing it, or they say it's okay. Fucking UNESCO here, you know, Bilderberg there. Every president was made, they're a Bilderberg member, you know. You got the spy affiliations, you got the monetary affiliations, you got these groups like the Trilateral Commission. Again, these are all soldiers. These are all soldiers. These are basically military assets for the beast. Okay? This is what you're looking at here. So all of this was initiated in modern times in 1773. Let me go back to that. All right. So in 1773, Mayor Amsel Rothschild assembles 12 of his most influential friends and convinces them that if they all pool their resources together, they can rule the world. This meeting takes place in Frankfurt, Germany. Rothschild also informs his friends that he has found the perfect candidate, an individual of incredible intellect and ingenuity to lead the organization. He has planned Adam Weishaupt, or Adam Weishaupt. All right. So this was 1773. This Rothschild motherfucker got together with some of his boys, 12 of his boys apparently, and said, yo, let's just pull this money together and we're going to take over the world. And he decided that he wanted this cat, Adam Weishaupt, to do the deed. So in 1776, May 1st, Adam, codenamed Spartacus, established a secret society called the Order of the Illuminati. Weishaupt is a professor of canon law at the University of Ingolstadt in Bavaria, part of Germany. The Illuminati seek to establish a new world order. Their objectives are as follows: abolition of all ordered governments, abolition of private property, abolition of inheritance, abolition of patriotism, abolition of the family, abolition of religion, creation of world government. Now, this was in 1776. Fast forward to 2000, 2001, or actually 2016 is when the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab, Christine Lagarde, and all of these people were telling you about the global reset, the fourth industrial revolution, where they're telling you by the year 20 fucking 30, there will only be one fucking government. All private property would be abolished. All inheritance would be abolished. They've already abolished patriotism. All the borders are gone. We've seen the destruction of the family for the past 100 years. All right. Abolition of religion, except for their one world religion, and obviously a creation of the one world government, which George Bush Sr. has been talking about since the 90s. But as I'm about to show you in real time, this is a plan that supersedes all of these fuckers. All right? This is not just happening yesterday. I don't give a fuck what you think is going on right now. You really need to pay attention and understand that there's a game being played levels way, way above where we at. All right? So boom. July 1782, Order of the Illuminati joins forces with Freemasonry at the Congress of Williamsbad. The Comte de Viru, an attendee at the conference, comes away visibly shaken. When questioned about the tragic secrets he brought back with him, he replies, I will not confide them to you. I can only tell you that all this is very much more serious than you think. From time to time on, according to his biographer, the Comte de Viru could only speak of Freemasonry with horror. All right. So here's a little image here, and it reads: the insignia of the Order of the Illuminati first appeared on the reverse side of the U.S. dollar bill in 1933. One can read at the base of the 13th-story pyramid the year 1776 in Roman numerals. The eye radiating in all directions is the all-spying eye, or all-seeing eye. That symbolizes the terroristic Gestapo-like agency set up by Weishaupt. The Latin words annuit coeptis means our enterprise or conspiracy has been crowned with success. Below, Novus Ordo Seclorum explains the nature of the enterprise, a new world order. Okay? This is something that these individuals have been working on for the better part of millennia. And if you don't know how long that is, it's 1,000 years. All right? This is not just happening yesterday. All of this is planned ahead of time. They're just following through with their plan. Like they're basically on the 5-yard line right now, about to go in. There's 2 seconds left on the clock. Game over. Shit is real. 1785. Detailed plan of the French Revolution found. All right. An Illuminati courier named Lanz is struck by lightning and killed while traveling by horseback through the town of Ratisbon. When Bavarian officials examined the contents of his saddlebags, they discovered the existence of the Order of the Illuminati and find plans detailing the coming French Revolution. The Bavarian government attempts to alert the government of France of impending disaster, but the French government fails to heed this warning. Bavarian officials arrest all members of the Illuminati they can find, but Weishaupt and others have gone underground and cannot be found. Whoa. All right. So that was 1785. And for those of you who, may not know, when they say Bavarian, they're talking about like Germany. All right. Or what we would call Germany. Now, I'm going to just add a bit more context to this last part that we read about 1785 and this French Revolution. So essentially, again, Weishaupt was planning the takeover. But these Bavarians were essentially thwarting these guys. Once they found out what was going on, they initially made moves to thwart this whole Illuminati Freemasonry takeover. All right. So this was between 1785, 1700s. I just want to add a bit more context to who these Bavarians were that were chasing down these Illuminati figures. All right. So it's gonna make this a bit bigger so you can probably read as I'm reading it as well. So this is a crest of the ruling family of the time 1763, 1768 of Bavaria, Germany. Okay? So it says coat of arms of Clemens Wenceslaus August Hubertus Franz Xaver von Sachsen, Bishop of Reichenberg, Germany. Okay? So these Bavarians that got whiff of what Weishaupt was doing in the name of the Illuminati and Freemasonry immediately start chasing them down, running these fools out of the country and murdering whoever they could find. This is what was going on. Okay? Again, I'm just showing you who these Bavarians were. Again, this is the crest, the family crest of these Bavarian bloodline that was ruling Germany or Bavaria, like basically from 1000 to like, the 1700s. These families, this Negro, this Naga, Negus, all right, with the crown and the nappy hair with the three trees over its head. These cats were ruling that area at the time. I'm just, a little bit off base with this, but I just want to show you what's what. So everybody know and understand, because everybody think that Europe was white, during this time, and that really is the opposite of the truth. Recently, the past 150 years, 175 years, Europe has turned white. East and west, north and south. Fact. All right? Same thing. Bayern, Germany, Bavaria. The arm shows the king's head of unknown origin. Has been stated that his head is the head of Christ, a Hun of Marshal Pappenheim, whatever. All right? So again, I'm gonna get off that. I just wanted to show you while we're having this discussion and we're bringing forth this timeline. I just wanted to show you what these Bavarians look like and who they were that were opposing these Illuminati Freemasonic figures. All right, so let's go back. So we're down to 1796. Freemasonry becomes a major issue in the presidential election in the United States. John Adams wins the election by opposing Masonry, and his son, John Quincy Adams, warns of the dire threat to the nation posed by the Masonic Lodge. I do conscientiously and sincerely believe that the order of Freemasonry, if not the greatest, is one of the greatest moral and political evils under which the Union is now laboring. All right. 1797, John Robinson, professor of natural history at Edinburgh University, Scotland, publishes a book entitled Proofs of a Conspiracy, in which he reveals that Adam Weishaupt had attempted to recruit him. He exposes the diabolical aims of the Illuminati to the world. Okay, so again, we're literally flipping back through the pages of history. Centuries of conspiring against the natural order, against the God code, all right, against the laws of nature. You've got all of these men through history that were part of this secret society or these secret societies, all of these esoteric, deplorable class individuals, all right? So boom, let's go down here to 1828. You got Rothschild again, Mayor Rothschild, who finances the whole shit, expresses his utter contempt for national governments, which attempts to regulate international bankers such as him. Allow me to issue and control the money of a nation, and I care not who writes the laws. It's a famous quote by this cat or whatever. So, this dude is like the progenitor of this whole banker class, these whole robber barons, and all of these fucks, you know, that we've been dealing with for many, many millennia now. I'm sorry, many, many centuries now, that have stolen history, changed the rules that work in their favor, turned us into essentially sentient slaves, and especially in this new age of AI, as I said, technocratic fascist fucking prison that they're trying to create. And we're willing participants as we engage in this game of global pandemic hysteria. All right. So 1848, you got your boy Moses Mordecai Marx Levy. All right. AKA Karl Marx, writes the Communist Manifesto. Marx is a member of an Illuminati front organization called the League of the Just. He is not only advocating economic and political changes, he advocates moral and spiritual changes as well. He believes the family should be abolished and that all children should be raised by a central authority. He expresses his attitude towards God by saying, we must war against all prevailing ideas of religion, of state, of country, of patriotism. The idea of God is the keynote of a perverted civilization. It must be destroyed. This has been going on forever. Okay? Go back and peep the God code. Please. Go back and peep that. This has everything to do with cryptocurrency. Don't get it twisted. All right? This is the new reality. Augmented reality, AR reality, VR reality, AI reality. All of this shit is right now. All this shit is right now. This is a war for your fucking soul. If you I don't give a fuck what you believe in, as I said to you, as I gave my disclaimer before, I'm not religious. But I do see God all around me. And the laws of creation don't give a fuck about none of that. It's about equity. It's about resonance. It's about frequency, frame, and shape. Balance, always. Even when the paradox is in play. June 22nd, 1870, Albert Pike. He's another important individual in their iconography. In a letter to Italian revolutionary leader Giuseppe Mazzini, Albert Pike, sovereign and grand commander of the southern jurisdiction of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, announces the establishment of a secret society within a secret society. And I quote, we must create a super rite which will remain unknown, to which we will call those Masons of high degree of whom we shall select. With regard to our brothers in the Masonry, these men must be pledges to the strictest secrecy. Through this supreme rite, we will govern all Freemasonry, which will become the one international center, the more powerful because its direction will be unknown. Bomb. The ultra-secret organization is called the New and Reformed Palladian Rite. This is why 95% of the men involved in Masonry don't have a clue as what the objective of the organization actually are. They are under the delusion that it's just a fine community organization doing good works. So understand what they're articulating here is that they're showing you the science of compartmentalization when you're dealing with organizations and when you're trying to keep the truth from, again, the 90% of the masses, even within your own secret organization. And this is what Albert Pike is talking about. The secret organization within the secret organization. That's basically the top of the capstone. The pyramid that's separated from the rest of the capstone, separated from the rest of the pyramid. That's the secret within the secret. All right, we go down here to 1875. You got your girl Helena Petrovna Blavatsky. H.P. Blavatsky is what she's called in the streets. Russian occultist H.P. Blavatsky founds the Theosophical Society. Madame Blavatsky claims that Tibetan holy men in the Himalayas, whom she refers to as the masters of wisdom, communicated with her in London by telepathy. She insists that the Christians have it all backwards, that Satan is good and God is evil. She writes, the Christians and scientists must be made to respect their Indian betters. This wisdom of India, her philosophy and achievement, must be made known in Europe and America. So again, you have these ominous figures in history like this chick, Madame H.P. Blavatsky, along with Hitler, and damn near anybody else you can think of as well. Their 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 source of wisdom comes from the East. These original men and women all across these original lands and including America. They basically take these frequencies and again, they obstruct the natural flow by changing the energy patterns and they present it to you as something new, some new train of thought, some new religion, some new philosophy, or whatever the fuck. All right, so that's your girl HP, the madam. 1884, the Fabian Society formed. So again, you see the infrastructure forming through the years. All these societies that were around then, most of them are still around now. If they're not around now, that's because they changed name and or merged into a more consolidated base. All right. So 1884, you got the Fabian Society, founded in Great Britain to promote socialism. The Fabian Society takes its name from the Roman general Fabian Maximus, who fought Hannibal's army in a small debilitating skirmishes rather than attempting one decisive battle. All right. July 14th, 1889, Albert Pike reveals who the true object of Masonic worship. Albert Pike issues instructions to the 23 Supreme Councils of the world on July 14, 1889. He reveals who the true object of Masonic worship. To you, sovereign grand instructors general, we say this, that you may repeat it to the brethren of the 32nd, 31st, and 30th degrees. The Masonic religion should be, by all of us, initiates of the high degrees, maintained in the purity of the Luciferian doctrine. So, I mean, I'm sure anyone who knows about Masonry on any level and the whole Illuminati clique, you know, this is who they get down with. And again, I'm not talking religion. I'm talking frequencies. I'm talking energies, all right? There are disagreeable frequencies. There are frequencies that exist right in our world that we have no idea because we're not resonating, all right? So you can take that however you want to take that. I'm explaining this to you because I'm talking to you in the language that they speak. They tell you that they're not religious. They say fuck religion, but they worship this energy of Lucifer. And this is their doctrine, which is the doctrine of death. But they tell you that Lucifer is the light bringer. All right? So, again, speak the opposite of truth. Now, this cat here, 1890 to 1896, you've got Cecil Rhodes or Cecil Rhodes, an enthusiastic student of John Ruskin, is Prime Minister of South Africa, a British colony at the time. He's able to exploit and control gold and diamond wealth of South Africa, but they don't tell you how he did that, huh? Divide and conquer by turning the Zulus against each other. They depleted their forces, and boom. Now you got that same area, DR Congo, and fucking flames to this day while they loop and rape and take all the minerals, all the resources from that land that they want. But I digressed. He works to bring all the habitable portions of the world under the domination of a ruling elite. To that end, he uses a portion of his vast wealth to establish the famous Rhodes Scholarship. You just look at the list of Rhodes Scholars throughout its inception, and it's like a who's who of fucking the deplorable class. It's a small clique, and you ain't in it. All right. 1893, Parliament of the World Religions held in Chicago. The Theosophical Society sponsors a Parliament of World Religions held in Chicago. The purpose of the convention is to introduce Hindu and Buddhist concepts such as belief in reincarnation to the West. All right. So, obviously, roughly 60 years later, 67 years later, you get like the fucking flower generation and, the hippie fucking revolution and all this shit like that. Again, you see how they plant the seeds, and then because they play the long game, all right, they're always playing the long game. We think this shit is like just popped up out of nowhere, and oh wow, look at this new fucking religion, or look at this new philosophy, or whatever the fuck, this new craze, this new trend, this new fad, whatever it is. Most of our thoughts are thinking us because they've been implanted in our subconscious via esoteric means. You gotta see this shit. All right. Now we finally in the 1900s. So all of that planting seeds and all of that behind the scenes and shadowy operations, that was all before the fucking 1900s. All right. Now we're in 1911. The Socialist Party of Great Britain publishes Socialism and Religion. The Socialist Party of Great Britain publishes a pamphlet entitled Socialism and Religion, and what they clearly state their position on Christianity. It is therefore a profound truth that socialism is the natural enemy of religion. A Christian socialist is in fact an anti-socialist. Christianity is the antithesis of socialism. All right. 1912, Colonel Edward Mandell House was a close advisor of President Woodrow Wilson, publishes Philip Drew's Administrator, in which he promotes socialism as dreamed by Karl Marx. So you have all these minions who come through, and you have Marxist and you know Maoist and all of these ists or whatever, and all of these isms or whatever. You have people pushing these agendas, but they're basically like all extend from the same source. That are all the same. So uh, democracy, socialism, communism, and everything in between, and this particular framework and this reality, they all lead to the same end: death, destruction, disintegration, opposite of truth, antagonistic to the God code, the creation protocol, all of them. None of these political systems are the answers. None of these religious systems are the answers. Otherwise, we will already be up out of this fucking mess that we're in right now. But none of that shit working. Motherfuckers praying every day in all kinds of languages to all kinds of gods. Very few goddesses, and I think that's part of the problem as well. But again, I digress. So, 1913, we got President Woodrow Wilson. He publishes The New Freedom, in which he revealed, since I entered politics, I have chiefly had men's views confided to me privately. Some of the biggest men in the US, in the field of commerce and manufacturing, are afraid of somebody, are afraid of something. They know that there is power somewhere so organized, so subtle, so watchful, so interlocked, so complete, so pervasive that they had better not speak above their breath when they speak in condemnation of it. That's heavy. 1913, he had the whole scene shook. This hidden hand of these esoteric deplorable class called themselves the elite via this network of Freemasons, Knights Templars, these so-called illuminated ones, and no doubt all your head CTOs of all of these number one crypto blockchain companies, don't think they don't bend the knee. Don't think they don't throw the signs. They're all in a gang and we ain't in it. So while you sit here and you put these motherfuckers up on pedestals, they ain't had nothing to do with this. You think Brad Garlinghouse just out of the blue and was given the position that he was in? You think it's random that Jed McCaleb, who came from fucking Mount Gox, that took a lot of motherfuckers' money, that was a scam. He jumps over to Ripple, creates XRP and the Ledger, supposedly has beef with some of the other developers, and then he jumps over to do his own thing, which is Stellar XLM. And all of a sudden, these two startup fucking crypto companies, blockchain companies out of San Fran, two of the biggest projects in crypto, all of these 10,000 fucking coins, and only these two motherfuckers seem to have the ear of presidents, kings, economic leaders, economic groups, unions, all over the fucking planet, banks all over the planet. Startup company out of San Fran. They happen to have ties to all of these deplorable class, beast establishment, government, private, esoteric groups, all of this shit. They're all in it, all of them. Crypto is not your savior. The blockchain is your savior. And it's also your warden and possibly your executioner if you don't use this shit for what it's for. This shit ain't about moonshots. All these bags you got packed, you're going straight to the concentration camp. That's what motherfuckers don't understand. If we allow them to play the game on their terms, the way it's been played right now, if we continue to follow this trend of believing the hype, being moved to action through fear tactics and coercion, all waiting to pack our bags and head to the moon, there's nowhere you can hide from this. This shit ain't going nowhere. You gotta know that. So, let me keep this moving. I can see I'm gonna have to do another part to this. December 23rd, 1913, the Federal Reserve was formed. And again, in parentheses, neither federal nor reserve. Again, private. It's a privately owned institution. It was planned at a secret meeting in 1910 on Jekyll Island, right off of Georgia, by a group of bankers and politicians, including Conroe House. This transfers the power to create money from the American government to the private group of bankers. The Federal Reserve Act is hastily passed just before the Christmas break. Congressman Charles A. Lindbergh, senior father of the famed aviator, warns this act establishes the most gigantic trust on earth. When the president signs this act, the visible government by the money power proven to exist by the money trust investigation will be legalized. So that was the beginning of the end of America. That's when money became funny. The creature from Jekyll Island. All right, 1916, President Woodrow Wilson. 3 years after signing the Federal Reserve Act into law, President Woodrow Wilson observes, "I am a most unhappy man. I have unwittingly ruined my country. A great industrial nation is controlled by its system of credit. Our system of credit is concentrated. The growth of the nation, therefore, and all our activities are in the hands of a few men. We have come to be one of the worst ruled, one of the most completely controlled and dominated governments in the civilized world." Mind you, this is over 100 years ago, 1916. Your boy was lamenting. He goes on to say, "No longer a government by free opinion, no longer a government by conviction and the vote of the majority, but a government by the opinion and duress of a small group of dominant men." All right, so even these so-called men of power, this could be Barack Obama, except for he was on board with these crew. He's in the clique. He throw up gang signs. He let you know what team he's on. You know what I'm saying? But at least back in the day, you still had honorable men trying to do honorable things for the people. All right. 1917. V.I. Lenin. With aid from financiers in New York City and London, V.I. Lenin is able to overthrow the government of Russia. Lenin later comments on the apparent contradiction in the links between prominent capitalists and communists or communism. That's what I was saying earlier. They're all the same. There also exists another alliance. At first glance, a strange one, a surprising one. But if you think about it, in fact, one which is well grounded and easy to understand. This is the alliance between communist leaders and your capitalist. So he's talking about Russia and America. You know what I'm saying? It's all a farce. There are no enemies except for them against us. The deplorable class versus the people. We the people. All right. May 30th, 1919, the Royal Institute of International Affairs comes on board. Prominent British and American personalities established the Royal Institute of International Affairs in England and the Institute of International Affairs in the US at a meeting arranged by Colonel House, attended by various Fabian socialists, included noted economist John Maynard Keynes, or Keynes. Yeah, look up this guy. He's a real live one, that one. 1920, Winston Churchill recognizes the connection between the Illuminati and the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia. He observes, from the days of Spartacus Weishaupt to those of Karl Marx, to those of Trotsky, Balakoon, Rosa Luxemburg, and Emma Goldman, the worldwide conspiracy for the overthrow of civilization and the reconstruction of society on the basis of arrested development, of envious malevolence and impossible equality has been steadily growing. If played a definitely recognizable role in the tragedy of the French Revolution, it has been the mainspring of every subversive movement during the 19th century. And now at last, this band of extraordinary personalities from the underworld of the great cities of Europe and America have gripped the Russian people by the hair of their heads, and have become practically the undisputed masters of that enormous empire. He just eloquently articulated for you play by play the takeover of Russia by the US and Britain. That's what I just read for you. So, bit by bit, decade by decade, coup by coup, war by war, movement by movement, they have permeated this planet like the disease, the cancer that they are. And we are terminally infected at this point. If we don't do something really soon, it's a wrap. I'm telling you right now. Even 100 years ago, 200 years ago, you had men who were corrupt as fuck themselves. But even in the midst, in the face of all the corruption that they were used to, they saw something that scared the fuck out of them. Already corrupt men. You got to think about that. All right. 1920 to 1931, you got Louis T. McFadden, chairman of the House Committee on Banking and Currency concerning the Federal Reserve. Congressman McFadden notes, when the Federal Reserve Act was passed, the people of these United States did not perceive that a world banking system was being set up. They had no idea, of course. A super state controlled by international bankers and international industrialists acting together to enslave the world for their own pleasures. Every effort has been made by the Fed to conceal its power, but the truth is, the Fed has usurped the government. It controls everything here, and it controls all our foreign relations. It makes and breaks governments at will. Concerning the Great Depression and the country's acceptance of FDR's New Deal, he assessed, it was no accident. It was a carefully contrived occurrence. Okay? So he's telling you the Great Depression was created. It was done, put in place behind the scenes by these Illuminati Freemason class, the deplorable class. They've been doing this shit for a long time. They brought you your Great Depression, just like just like they brought you the Great Recession. All right? And 10 years later, just like they brought you the Great Pandemic. that Rona. All right? You see how this goes? They create the problem. They monitor your reactions where they already got solution on deck because they had the shit 50 years ago. They already had the resolution for your money problems, the resolution with fiat currency, which is drowning under a mountain of fucking negative interest, drowning under a mountain of useless fucking currencies. All fiat currencies are dead. They know this. The only way they can get out of this fucking black hole of fake money is to hop over to this blockchain. But they want to colonize this space early. They want to get in early while they make these rules and make sure that your job keeps on going like it is, which means most of us are not working right now, which means they're going to force you to get this universal basic income, which is a digital wallet, which is accounted for on the fucking blockchain. Federal digital fucking wallets. All right? They put that in the bill last year, March 23rd, 2020. All right? The international bankers sought to bring about a condition of despair here so they might emerge as the rulers of us all. And this was 1920 to 1931. It's going pretty good so far, huh? Now, 1921 was the creation of the Council on Foreign Relations, of CFR. Again, this very active individual, Colonel House, recognizes the American branch of the Institute of International Affairs he reorganizes the American branch of the Institute of International Affairs into the Council on Foreign Relations, or CFR. For the past 60 years, 80% of the top positions in every administration, whether Democratic or Republican, have been occupied by members of his organization. 80% of your politicians are part of this group. 80% of your businessmen are part of this group. 80% of your military men are part of this group, or part of one of these other auxiliary groups that control the levers of human interaction. All right? Now we got December 5th, 1922. The CFR endorses world government. The CFR endorses world government in the magazine Foreign Affairs. Author Philip Kerr states in From Empire to Commonwealth, that's the name of the article if anybody want to check it out. Obviously, there is going to be no peace nor prosperity for mankind as long as the earth remains divided into 50 or 60 independent states, until some kind of international system is created. The real problem today is that the world of government, all right? So he's saying all of these 50, 60 independent states or whatever, obviously there's probably less than that now. I don't know how many there are. But he's saying, nah, we need centralized control. All right? Everything's about centralization to these deplorable class. They want to control everything. Everything that you see and hear, the message is controlled by this establishment. All right? This is part one. I'm going to get into part two when I do the last part of this, the elusive Satoshi Nakamoto. But as you can see, again, Satoshi Nakamoto might as well call Satoshi Nakamoto the Fabian Society, because it's basically like a program, this digital asset Trojan horse program. That's what Satoshi Nakamoto represents. All of these individuals that I just read to you through history, and remember, that's just part one. All of these individuals have played their part to getting this Illuminati Freemasonic outfit to the very point where we are right now. This fourth industrial revolution, as they call it, the global reset, which is just a rebranding of New World Order. Global reset, New World Order. Same shit. All right? So I hope you with me. I hope I didn't leave nobody hanging too tough. I hope my people didn't get too bored with me on that. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes we gotta do to get through this. The receipts. And I'm getting somewhere with this. Don't worry. The ending is gonna be spectacular. I'm blowing it all out. All right. But again, just understand what I'm telling you. I'm with it. You know, digital assets are the future, whether you like it or not. There's nowhere around it. But this blockchain is going to be like a prison for a lot of us if we don't take control and do the thing that we need to do in order to be sovereign unto ourselves. They want to make it a one world order. I'm saying think global, think local and act local first. Think local and act local first. Your neighbor is not your enemy. The white boy is not necessarily your enemy. The Mexicans ain't necessarily your enemy. If they think like you, if they respect life like you respect life, they want their kids to grow old and have more kids and have grandkids like you, then they ain't the problem. The problem is the establishment and those ones who promote this establishment. The problem is these ones who think they're at the top of that pyramid, the capstone. That's the problem. And again, I'm not interested in what you believe in. I'm not interested in who you pray to. I don't give a fuck if you pray at all. The laws of nature are always in play. This is a frequency war. All right? I'm going to be back sooner than later, the next 24, 36 hours with the finale of this, the elusive Satoshi Nakamoto. We're going to finish up in this little history lesson so I can show you how long this plan, this Trojan horse, has been unraveling. All right? Again, I am your host, the Mighty Sun Cypher. This is Black Dot Chronicles, and this is Sons of the Sun. Soda Sound Lab. Stay up, stay light, stay peaceful, keep your mind, keep your body fit. We create this reality. Don't let your thoughts think you. You always got to be thinking your thoughts. Intuition rules the day. There's nothing that comes before that. The creation protocol is the framework. The framework is universal law. There's nothing outside of that. Until we meet again. Universal warriors, stand up. Boom!